I'm Mark.
I'm Josh.
And we are at Alter Ego Comics talking about this week's best comics, our weekly rundown of the books that we enjoyed the most, with the hope that you will also enjoy them and support comics that are awesome. Because that makes sense, right? I don't know why I can't turn the volume down on my iPad until we actually start. Like it won't work. Okay, so let's get right to it. It is 1 o'clock, Wednesday, new comic book day. Let's talk about what we like the most. My pick of the week is In Josh's Hand. Champions, number 18. This is the final issue by writer Mark Waid and artist Humberto Ramos, who have worked together for probably 2 decades, I would guess, because there's some commentary, some letters at the end from all of the creators involved with this, and Wade and Ramos worked together on whatchamacallit, Flash or something many, many moons ago. But Champions has been a great book from the get-go. I'm glad that we got 18 issues out of it. This resolves some stuff that's been going on in the Vision family. And again, I talked about Champions 17 last time, or when it came out, and we talked about how reading Tom King's Vision is kind of essential if you want to get the most out of the Champions. So just to reiterate that, you're not going to go wrong reading Vision and reading Champions. They're just 2 top-notch books. So this is the end of a chapter for the Champions. We have a new writer, Jim Zub, coming on board with issue number 19. I like Jim Zub. I like what he writes, and I'm very curious to see his take on the Champions and what direction they head off in. So, swan song for Wade and Ramos, but another solid issue of the Champions from Marvel this week.
Hi, Angie.
Thanks for watching.
My pick of the week this week is The Big Goodbye, Jessica Jones, number 18, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with art by Michael Gaydos and Matt Hollingsworth. This is Bendis' final issue in the Jessica Jones oeuvre, a character he created, 15 years ago?
Sounds about right, yeah.
And it is basically perfect. It was emotional and interesting and funny, and it was exactly the best way to end a Jessica Jones series. And Bendis has a little, I think it's 1-page little thing in the back where he's talking about, what the character means to him and what headspace he was in writing this. He had known a while ago when the series started that it was going to be ending. He didn't know that it was going to be one of the last Marvel books published, because at the time he knew the series was limited, he didn't know he was going to be leaving. So I think it's a great last issue, both for the series and for Bendis. And there are just so many little references and things that tie it back to pretty much his entire tenure at Marvel over the last 2 decades. So if you haven't read Jessica Jones, you should totally read Jessica Jones. Go back, grab the Alias ones. I think the first issue may be out in one of the Marvel Greatest Hits dollar books. If you like the Netflix show, it's probably worth your time just to grab the first volume, because you will like it, and it's great.
It is. Hi, Cody. Thanks for watching, and if you are joining us live, give us a shout. Let us know that you're here, and we'll say hi back, because that's how live works. Next up for me, and this is a pick, but it's more just... It's a public service announcement, but the new issue of Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man is out. This is, 302?
This is 302.
By Chip Zdarsky and Joe Quinones.
Hi, Topaz.
And, man, this book, again, I haven't been able to stop talking about this book every time it comes out. So, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you owe it to yourself to be reading Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, because it is a little lighter, in some cases a lot lighter than what's going on over in The Amazing Spider-Man. But this issue takes a turn for the dark and involves the Green Goblin in the past. So if you're just jumping into this storyline, present-day Peter Parker, his kind of sort of sister Teresa, and J. Jonah Jameson are all back in time, and they're basically back in like his first year as Spider-Man, and they've revealed themselves to younger Peter, and hijinks ensue, but also they're back to stop the Thinker or the Tinkerer?
It's the Tinkerer.
It's the Tinkler. It's Tinker or Tinker, right? We
Tinker.
Decided it's Tinker.
Yes.
Thinker.
The Tinkerer.
Sailor,
think,
spy,
actually,
what? Okay, yeah, that guy. The Tinkerer.
But,
Has to do with alien invasion and other fun stuff. but the interactions between Peter in the past, which looks remarkably like 1999 instead of 1963.
Well, I mean, it is, right? I mean, if the Marvel timeline rolls the way it always has, this is the 90s
it's
or
still,
the late 80s.
It still kind of pulled me out of the story a little bit. But there's also a revelation in here that's kind of been a is it, isn't it sort of thing, and there is a revelation in here that bears checking out if you're a Spider-Man fan. So
yeah, this is concurrent. Peter actually relives some things from Amazing Spider-Man 24. So
his first 2 years.
Yeah. Well, that's our time, not his time. So who knows?
Marvel time is crazy.
Yeah.
This is just so much fun to read. It's fantastic. It's a great companion series to the Amazing Spider-Man. You can read one, read both, but my recommendation is to read both because they are just excellent books in different ways and gives you a different flavor of Spider-Man every month.
Okay. Cody wants to know, how's the Shazam comics going? Not going.
Well, we're not making them, so
right.
If we were, they would look horrible, and Josh would write them. And
it would just be
okay.
words. Just
I would draw stick figures, and or we do like stop motion animation. We get action figures. I have a Shazam Alex Ross action figure.
Yeah, it'd be like Toy Fair Theater.
Yeah.
But no, there's not currently a series. There's not been one announced, to my knowledge.
Again, would not surprise me if we...
with the movie,
Keep in mind that we're heading into announcement season. We've got C2E2 coming up in just a couple weeks in Chicago. And then we've got the granddaddy of them all, San Diego Comic-Con in July. And most publishers are holding on to announcements for those two conventions specifically. And then there's New York Comic-Con in October, and there are usually some announcements there as well. So I think once we move a little closer with the Shazam movie, I mean, they revealed the logo last week. We've seen some on-set pictures. Entertainment Weekly ran a story. But if we get a hard release date, and it may be out there, but I would expect Shazam to make a return to comics around the same time that the Shazam movie hits theaters.
And can I just say, since you mentioned C2E2, C2E2 has ads in the comics this week. They're the most effective ad campaign ever because they're all laid out identically, and so my brain goes, oh, just another C2E2 ad, but then they're all different. So, and each one has a different list of celebrities appearing. So, as I went through reading more books, I'm like, oh my God, everyone is going to be at C2E2.
Did you notice that they are publisher-specific?
Oh, no, I didn't.
If you're reading a Marvel comic, all of the creators are Marvel creators. If you're reading a DC comic, the creators are DC creators.
I didn't.
And the celebrities too, that they have, like people from Guardians of the Galaxy are in the Marvel comics, and people from other DC properties are in the DC comics. So, thumbs up to ReadPop and C2E2 for their marketing. It's outstanding, and it makes me want to go. I wasn't even planning on going, and I'm like, man, there's a ton of people at C2E2 this year. Thankfully, it's not that far. And the Diamond Retailer Summit is that.
Yeah.
So, Angie, if you're still watching, we may be going to Chicago in a couple weeks. See you later.
Next up for me, I've got Shadow Man #1. You want to hold it up?
Yeah, because I never held up whatever your first pick was.
Art by Steven Segovia. Words by Andy Diggle. Thank you. Eric? I see. He didn't come from the shirt when he saw me this morning, but now it's cool. That's all right. This is my last chance to wear it since this is the last issue of Metal came out today.
You can wear that forever.
I mean, I can, but won't. So Shadow Man is a long-standing Valiant character, and like all other Valiant characters, he gets rebooted every couple years with a new series and a new creator. Andy Diggle is a top-notch creator. He wrote one of my favorite, I'm not sure crime is the word I want, heist comics, The Losers. I don't know. It's the A-Team in comics form if they were allowed to say swear words. And then there's a highly underrated movie on it a few years back that you should check out if you haven't seen it.
Pre-Captain America, Chris Evans.
Yeah, well, pre-Captain America, Chris Evans, pre-Thor, Idris Elba, pre-Batman.
Oh, Supernatural Dad?
Yeah, Supernatural Dad.
Comedian.
Pre-Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora. Mm-hmm. Like, the entire cast is comic book people.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah, it's not great, but it was the year the A-Team movie came out, and it was a better A-Team movie than the A-Team movie.
A ringing endorsement from Josh. It's underrated, but not great, and it's better than the A-Team.
It is great. It's just fell off everybody's radar. Nobody ever mentions it, and it's a really good cast, and it's a really fun story.
Shadow Man.
And the guy from Lost Boys is in it, right? The bad guy is
Jason Patric?
Yeah, Jason Patric from Lost Boys.
Is he? I don't even remember. Yeah. I know we saw it in the theater. God, it seems like a lifetime ago.
It was a lifetime ago. So Shadow Man's awesome. Andy Diggle, also known for Green Arrow Year One, which is why the character named Diggle is named Diggle on the show Arrow. which is really kind of the blueprint they used for the show. Arrow was Green Arrow year one. So Shadow Man is a character who's immersed in the Voodoo religion or the Voodoo mythology down in Nolans. Although he travels everywhere, he goes into a dark dimension. This starts off... I haven't read the previous Shadow Man series. I had kind of a broad understanding of it, but it was really easy to follow, so that was cool. It starts off with he's been trapped in the dark dimension, and you see what's been going on. He's been missing for 5 years. From his perspective. From his perspective, it's been a short period of time, but for everyone else, it's been 5 years, and you see how the world's moved on. Lots of very interesting characters. Diggle's great at making me care about someone in a couple pages without making them all nice, if you know what I mean. He makes people compelling without necessarily making them...
likable?
Compelling and likable are synonyms in this context, but yes. Makes me want to read more Shadow Man. So Valiant, as always, is making great books that no one reads.
So is this accessible to someone who's never read a Valiant comic? I didn't read it.
I would say probably. I mean, it might take a second just to click all together, but as long as you have like a broad understanding of voodoo and you know who the Loa and stuff are.
If you've seen Live and Let Die.
Maybe. There's no... Was that where he runs across the alligators? Is that Live and Let Die?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All Roger Moore James Bond movies are the same to me, except Moonraker and I don't know. I do want to point out one thing. Forgot. So Valiant is really making an effort to... more than an effort. They have A-list talent. They have characters that are intriguing. And much like the beginning of the most recent X-O Man of War launch... where Matt Kint had a long storyline planned out, told in different chapters, and they rotated artists through. Valiant is putting the same time and effort into Shadow Man with Andy Diggle. So if you enjoyed X-O Man of War, I would highly recommend picking up Shadow Man and showing Valiant some support, because they really take their comics seriously. They put a lot of time, money, and effort, and in our opinion, deserve more readers.
Has the digital series started yet?
I don't think so.
They're doing a live-action web series, Ninjak versus
the Valiant
Universe,
I think,
and it's going to feature a lot of these characters. I don't know if Shadow Man specifically is in there. But.
All right, so we want to run through a few of your comments here. Cody wants to know if Jonah Hex is going to come back in comics. Your guess is as good as mine, Cody.
Yes. The question is, it's only a matter of time.
He'll show up probably in a supporting role somewhere. If I were in charge at DC Comics, I would not launch a Jonah Hex series. Maybe a miniseries. And I think we're seeing that at Marvel and DC now, that they're understanding that they don't need to launch a newer character or a C/D level character into a new ongoing. They're launching some miniseries, and doing that with Jonah Hex would be good. Ed points out that it's not hard to be better than the A-Team, and if you haven't seen the A-Team, just tune into FX every weekend, because I think it's on there. Cody and Brave and the Bold cartoon
was awesome.
Is awesome, yes.
Brave and the Bold cartoon is a great example of how they could use Jonah Hex, because Brave and the Bold had a rotating cast, you know.
Well, even Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jonah Hex was in Legends of Tomorrow.
I'm kind of surprised there's not a Legends of Tomorrow comic. They did that short miniseries that wasn't at all like the TV series right when it started.
Yeah.
And
I want to thank Mike for watching. We got a couple Michaels here. And
we're going to go see Ready Player One this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to go this weekend. I don't know what my schedule looks like, but I definitely intend to go see it. I like the book.
My intention is either tomorrow night or Friday afternoon. By the way, I'm not coming in Friday.
Oh, cool.
And
I'm
you're also
Friday
leaving
too,
Friday.
So.
But yeah, for these movies that come out on Wednesdays, we have our monthly book club on the last Wednesday of the month. So we have book club tonight, and we're talking
So did it open early last night?
No, it opens maybe
okay.
it did.
Well, you said it comes out on Wednesday.
No,
that's what confused
me.
When
I looked it up, it was only had times for Wednesday, and it was Wednesday evening times. So I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next one. Breathless, #1.
Breathless, #1
from Black Mask. I have to wait until I get the comic back to tell you who the creators are, because these are Pat Shand and someone Rodriguez,
John Carpenter, J. Scott Campbell. How about, created by Pat Shand and Renzo Rodriguez, written by Pat Shand, art by Renzo Rodriguez, colorist Mara Jane Carpenter,
Mary Jane,
letterer Jim Campbell, production assistant artist Phil Smith.
Who was the best boy?
Producer Matt Pizzolo. I think he's probably the best boy.
So Black Mask is doing some really cool stuff. Unfortunately, they've had some delays that have gummed up the works, and I think soured some people on their comics, and I hope you continue to give them a shot. Breathless is a breath of fresh air. Breathless was a lot of fun to read. It is kind of a cross between I don't know what it's they kind of build it as Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets, I don't know. The main character is a like a former med student who now works for this clandestine agency that rounds up these things called hissers, which are kind of like alien lizard type things that are running around. And she also has a really bad asthma problem, so that's why it's called Breathless. We get to see her and her dealing with the struggles of the medical system and prescription drugs. And this is a little bit of a statement against big pharmaceutical, but anyway, they're dissecting one of these hissers that comes in, and some gas escapes from it, and the main character ingests it and finds out that her asthma, she was in the middle of kind of having an asthma attack, and it kind of cleared things up, and it got out on the interwebs, and now the big bad guys are looking to throw a monkey wrench into some things, and it becomes a horror movie very quickly. So the last third of the movie is very much
of the issue.
Yes, the last third of the issue is very much a horror movie, but it's incredibly well written. The artwork by Rodriguez is top notch. Really good stuff. Intriguing characters. Big bad pharmaceutical and these freaky looking things that look like a cross between Alien and the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. Just really good stuff. If you're looking for something new, if you're looking for an action sci-fi horror comic to pick up, then Breathless should be on your list. Don't overlook it.
All right, and last up for me, we've got a new graphic novel out this week. It is Thor versus Hulk, Champions of the Universe. This is written by Jeremy Whitley, which is the main reason we're talking about it.
It's the main reason it's in the shop.
It's the only reason, really. Art by Simone Buenafantino and Alti Firmenyashi. And they alternate issues. But this is kind of another run-in with the, what do they call, the Masters of the Universe, the old elder people, the collectors, one of them, and those dudes.
The Elders of the Universe?
The Elders of the Universe? Sure. So we've got Champion, who's a big blue dude who punches a lot, and we've also got the world's greatest, or the galaxy's greatest promoter, but we've got Hulk and Thor fighting. We got a bunch of appearances, not necessarily of other characters, but of versions of other characters, because it's all sort of in a controlled, how they always set up these weird champions and contests and things where it's like a pocket universe or whatever. But Jeremy Whitley's writing and characterizations are just awesome, and I like Hulk and Thor together. I like Aaron's Thor as the serious Thor comic, but this is a more kind of fun, lighter appearance, and so we get a little more kind of the classic Asgardian, almost Shakespearean style Thor. And this Hulk is a nice cross. It's closer probably to the Hulk we saw in Ragnarok, where he's more verbal than normal. He still doesn't speak in full sentences a lot and stuff, but he talks more than the traditional comic Hulk. But lots of fun. And while we're on the subject of Jeremy Whitley, Sea of Thieves #1 was out 2 weeks ago by Titan Comics. I was trapped under something heavy in Reno, so I didn't get to tell you about it. This is tied into the Sea of Thieves video game, which is a super fun thing apparently. I haven't played it yet. I heard good things initially. But you don't have to know anything about the game. I read this and really liked it. A lot of strong, interesting characters. Also written by Jeremy Whitley, who you would remember from Unstoppable Wasp and Princeless.
Yes.
So if you like either of those, I think Sea of Thieves is a good checkout. Or in the Marvel vein, the Thor and Hulk is fun.
I just realized that we are all princeless at this point. There is no prince left.
I mean, there's still Harry and William, right?
Yes, but...
And probably some other ones.
The important one.
Yes, everyone is princeless now. And also, last week or 2 weeks ago, also one I missed because I wasn't here, so 2 weeks ago, we've got Green Lantern Earth 1 by Gabriel Hardman and Karina Bechko, the team who've done a ton of different series, specifically a lot of the Planet of the Apes stuff, and what else? You
can't remember
Naturally.
I know they had a sci-fi series from Dark Horse, and I can't remember what it's called.
Invisible Republic.
There you go.
Oh, and they were on Star Wars Legacy too. I didn't even know that. I love Legacy.
Towards the end.
Yeah. And this is the next installment in DC's Earth line.
Earth 1 line.
Earth 1 line. So Superman Earth 1, Batman Earth 1, Wonder Woman Earth 1, Teen Titans Earth 1, and now Green Lantern Earth 1. This is the perfect mixture of different and the same. The Earth One line is designed to be easy to jump into without years of continuity. They're kind of their own pocket universes. They're not really influenced by what goes on in the main books. And I think the ones that work best, like Jeff Johns' Batman one, is one where anyone who looks at it will go, oh, obviously that's Green Lantern. But the little details are changed in a way that make it even interesting to people who are already intimately familiar with the character. So they've done a great job characterizing Hal. Kilowog also gets a significant role. We see lots of other smaller parts for other Green Lanterns and characters, but I'm super excited to have another awesome Earth One book, and it's absolutely worth your time. Now, these are never appearing in single issues; they only come out in graphic novel. And if you're a softcover waiter, usually the wait is around a year to 18 months to see these in softcover. So value your time versus the cost difference.
Yes, and again, designed for new readers and regular readers, enjoyable to all, I should say.
Absolutely.
I need to get around to reading it. We actually sold out the week it came out of an order that should have lasted us at least a couple of weeks. So lots of people looking forward to that. So really great week. It's really nice. It's nice to see kind of DC. You know what? I didn't even talk about my last one.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Did I skip one?
Yeah, I think you jumped from
I steamrolled
that to that. All right, I just briefly. Dark Knight's Metal #6 came out this week, and it is the end of the miniseries, which has rocked. I want to rock. Thank you very much. So yeah, we've got Nth Metal. We've got the final throwdown between the forces of Barbados and the Justice League. And man, Capullo's artwork is stunningly amazing. Snyder tells an amazing story as well, and I was surprised that we get kind of an epilogue.
Actually, a lot of an epilogue.
It is not just kind of an epilogue; it actually says epilogue, and I overlooked it. Overlooked the word epilogue, and yes, sets up what we're probably going to be dealing with in the Justice League books that Snyder is involved in writing. There's a 4-part weekly Justice League series that starts in May, if I'm not mistaken, and then
called No Justice.
It's
basically name checked in that epilogue. So.
Yes. So it's Snyder, James Tynion IV, and somebody else, Joshua Williamson, who are writing that weekly series. 4 different groups of Justice Leaguers with a different theme for each team, and then spinning out of that, Scott Snyder launches a new Justice League series with artist Jim Chung, who maybe that's why he doesn't do Marvel 2-in-1 anymore. We loved his work on Marvel 2-in-1 with Chip Zdarsky, and now he's over playing for DC, which I think is his first time doing work for DC. Did great stuff with Young Avengers and Avengers vs. X-Men and that sort of thing. So Metal wraps up in a very satisfying way, and the epilogue has me looking forward to what's coming next. So everything a good comic should do.
Cody wants to know how the X-Men comics are going. One of the great things about the X-Men comics is there's a ton of them, and each one is kind of designed to cater to a specific niche. If you really like 90s X-Men, Astonishing X-Men is your jam. If you like the 80s era run, it's probably X-Men Gold. The only one I'm reading religiously that's an ongoing is X-Men Red, the new Jean Green one by Tom Taylor, which I really like. But I know Alex reads all of them and likes them.
X-Men Blue is the time-displaced young X-Men.
Right. And then, of course, X-Force and New Mutants is a mini, and there's all manner of
and other... Cable, and it really...
Legion.
There's something for everybody. So if you are an X-Men fan, you can either read them all, or you can pick and choose. And there are some...
Or you can start by checking one issue of each one out and see if it's for you or not.
For me, I'm with Josh. Tom Taylor's a heck of a writer. Really enjoy what he's done with All New Wolverine and over on the Injustice comic at DC. So X-Men Red is one that I check out all the time. I was in on X-Men Gold and kind of fell off, but I'm going to come back again for the Kitty Pryde Colossus wedding, which is right around the corner. X-Men strong. And I was going to say this week, I think, is a great example of DC and Marvel firing on all cylinders. It really felt lots of good stuff on both sides of the aisle, plus the independent stuff. We didn't talk about Saga, but Saga 50 is out this week.
It was amazing. But it's amazing every month. So
it shouldn't be a surprise. And 50 consecutive issues by the same writer, the same artist, telling an incredible story. 7 years, I think, is what they said they've been working on it. Great cover, and they're still going.
So is Hazel almost the right age?
Sounds about right.
She's got to be 6. She might be 7. She's little. But Saga's amazing. Oh, also, it's a mini. It's not an ongoing, which is why I didn't mention it before. But I liked Gambit, the Rogue Gambit series, quite a lot too.
And again, Kelly Thompson. Yeah, I think. I don't know about the rest of you, and maybe you want to chime in whether you are more interested in characters or creators. But I think as a shop owner and as somebody in their 40s, I still love certain characters, but I'm more interested in following creators. So I will read pretty much anything that Kelly Thompson writes, that Jeremy Whitley writes, that Scott Snyder writes. And when they get to write characters that I happen to have an emotional attachment to, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah. Sorry, Cody wants to know if they made a continuation of the show in comic form. Yes and no. I assume we're talking about the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, because that's the only show, unless we're talking about Legion, actually, which is more of an adaptation thing. They've done a few over the years. There's not one currently running. The most recent was X-Men 92, which wrapped up a little over a year ago. There's, I believe, two or three volumes. But, yeah.
So that is it. We appreciate everybody tuning in to join us live. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please like, comment, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And if you're listening to the podcast, let us know, because the podcast is kind of a new thing for us. We've had people requesting a podcast from us for years, and now the technology is available so that it's very simple to take this and push it out to the podcast channels as well. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we are going to shoot for 1 p.m. Eastern each Wednesday to do our live videos. So hopefully you'll be able to join us.
Sorry, I was just reading. Yes.
Okay.
Live?
I was waiting for any final words from Josh.
Oh, no. We were just talking about the X-Men cartoon. But yeah, I remember, yes, Wolverine and the X-Men. There was no continuation of that.
No. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great new comic book day. Head out and support your local comic shop, and we will see you again next Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern.
Morph! Na-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na.